The premise of this book is that three ancient Greek goddesses are forced to attend a modern-day high school. It's sort of what Percy Jackson would be like if you took out the monster fighting and focused on the teen love drama instead.
Argofunk Book Review, Argofunk Book Review.
Our narrator is Thalia, and yes, the book is hilarious if you pretend she's the Percy Jackson character. Thalia is one of the muses, along with her sisters Polly and Hera. They are summoned to Zeus's throne room, where Zeus deals a harsh punishment. He says Hera needs to think for herself, Polly needs to stop meddling in other people's lives, and Thalia needs to stop being selfish and put other people first. If you ask me, those are lessons Zeus needs to learn, not his daughters. The sisters are banished to Earth, forced to live as mortals until they learn their lessons. Only Zeus messes up. Instead of sending them to Athens, Greece, he accidentally sends them to Athens, Georgia. I didn't know Zeus was that bad at geography. I guess he's bad with calendars too, because instead of sending them to ancient times, he accidentally sends them to the year 2002. Oh hey, they arrived just in time to stop Hollywood from making the terrible movies Geely and Kangaroo Jack. From Justin to Kelly can stay, though. They arrive at a small house. There's a long letter from Hermes. He watched some TV, so he can confidently say Oprah and Cindy Crawford are awesome. Hermes' tips for the modern world include, see yourself in Faria, Earth has eternity, and the true test of a perfect bra is how it makes you feel. What kind of TV shows did Hermes watch? Seriously. Hermes' letter explains about food and electricity, sort of. Most importantly, the girls have to attend the local high school. How else could there be high school drama? Every third chapter is a flashback, which explains the backstory. It all starts with Zeus ordering Thalia to marry Apollo. You know Zeus, big fan of marriage. Thalia hates the idea of marriage. She thinks it will ruin her life. Thalia and her sisters plan to get out of the marriage by pretending she has the dreaded cilia disease. Apollo's a god of medicine, so I doubt the trick will work on him. The girls make a fake disease potion. The evil Furies sabotage the potion, so it's a real disease. Sort of? It won't affect Thalia, but it will affect the first person she touches, which seems way more complicated than poisoning Thalia directly. As Thalia spends time with Apollo, she goes back and forth on whether or not she wants to marry him. On one hand, he's Apollo. On the other hand, he's Apollo. At the engagement party, Hera gets drunk and gives an angry speech. At least I assume she's drunk. The book doesn't say. Maybe she's just that incoherent and mean all the time. Thalia takes the potion, and Hera gets the dreaded disease. That's why Thalia and her sisters are banished to Earth. Back in the future, the girls pick out who stays in what room. Thalia is stuck with the bathroom. They pick out clothes, which I guess were too ugly for the cover art because someone clearly drew over the picture of their clothes with fake clothes. Thalia makes a bad first impression at school. Take a guess as to why. If you had to make a joke where a Greek goddess looks weird in high school, what would your joke be? Trying to thunderbolt someone? Drinking wine in class? Complaining about the movie Hercules? The book goes with frogs. Thalia is a Greek goddess, so she's obsessed with frogs! Ha ha! What? Since when is frog obsession a Greek goddess thing? This is such a weird joke. The only kids who like Thalia are dyed hair Claire and mohawk singer Pocky. So she's friends with the goth kids. Thalia makes enemies with the backroom Betties, a trio of popular girls who sit in the back row of every class. Instead of paying attention to school, they make fun of everyone. It turns out the backroom Betties are really the Furies in disguise. They have nothing better to do than play mean girls at high school. So they spread nasty rumors about the sisters. Thalia doesn't figure out the truth until the end of the book. The sisters go grocery shopping. They get all sorts of random food because they don't know how modern food works. Like, what even is cereal? Era gets addicted to candy bars, and Polly gets flirty with Tim, the cute grocery clerk. Thalia decides to play matchmaker with Tim and Polly. She figures it's the best way for all of them to get back home to Olympus. Polly is angry and embarrassed when Thalia asks Tim pointed questions like, "Will you walk us home? Did you know Polly's great at singing? Want to see my collection of frog spleens?" Polly quickly falls for Tim. She writes him a song and a love poem. She's so happy she and Thalia have a sister-sister talk about Tim in the bathroom. It's gross, but not as gross as Tim. Everybody calls him a poser. I have some meaner nicknames for him. He hangs out with the Furies. He hijacks the PA system during lunch so he can read Polly's poem to the whole school. He tries passing off her amazing song as his own. Tim, what the heck did Polly ever do to you? Polly becomes popular when she sings the song in front of everyone. The end. Post-book follow-up. I have mixed thoughts on this book. Let's start with the positives. The premise is good. I would have picked different Greek gods to send to the modern world, but it still works. The flashback chapters are good. Reading them in isolation makes for a decent story. The humor is good and it's well tailored towards the target audience. Except for the joke that Thalia likes frogs too much. What was that joke about? As for the negatives, I can't tell Thalia's two sisters apart. Even after multiple readings, I don't know which one is which. All I know is that Polly is the one who gets the Tim story, while Era gets no story of her own. Even at the very start, where Zeus says, Era needs to stop following others, and Polly should think for herself, I get confused because those things are the same. The vast majority of the scenes are the three sisters talking to each other. That gets repetitive. We only see Thalia in class one time. She rarely interacts with her friends. I don't think her sisters have friends. I suppose the Furies make good villains, but I'm still not sure why they care so much about ruining Thalia's life. Several chapters end with the Furies reciting a poem. Their rhymes include credo and mojo, and good with gobbledygook. Maybe that's the real reason the Furies hate the muses. The Furies can't rhyme as well as they can. Overall, I think I would recommend it if it sounds like something you'd be interested in. I think it was kind of a waste of a good premise. The book's not good enough to draw in readers outside of the target audience. I could picture some preteen girls loving it and others skipping it entirely. I give Goddesses Number 1, Heaven Sent, a 5 out of 10.